Hey guys, it's Mo from Mo in the Deep End. Sorry, Mom Taxi couldn't go until a certain someone's hair was perfectly correct. Teenage girls, they're fun, they're wild, they're feral in a completely different way. And yes, Dennis, I will put uh fries naughty bits under something next time. I will preserve, Fry's modesty sometime. Welcome, Feral, welcome, Eris, welcome, AC's Wildflower and Pixie, and everyone else, thank you for being understanding. My oldest usually is the taxi in the morning, but she's not feeling well, so I she didn't tell my middle daughter that she wasn't going to be driving, and she'd have to take the bus. Good morning, Christine. So for our first story, legendary Olympic gymnast Mary Lou Retton is, quote, fighting for her life with a rare form of pneumonia. Good morning, Chris Mullen. Olympic gold medalist and legendary U.S. gymnast Mary Lou Retton is fighting for her life in an intensive care unit, uh, battling a rare form of pneumonia, according to spot fund account set up by her daughter, McKenna Kelly. According to the Post, Retton has been in the ICU for over a week and has not been able to breathe on her own. Good morning, Carlene. Quote, my amazing mom, Mary Lou, has a very rare form of pneumonia and is fighting for her life, Kelly wrote on Spot Fund. She did not provide further details out of respect for her mother's privacy, but did mention that Retton was uninsured. Kelly ended the post by asking for prayer. Retton, 55, was one of the greatest gymnasts in American history. Her made her biggest mark on the sport during the 1984 Los Angeles Olympics. She won 5 gold medals during the Summer Games that year, which included a gold medal in the individual all-around competition, a first for any American woman. And my mom, I think, had that haircut. I think she, said that was the worst mistake of her life. She got the Mary Lou Retton and hated it. Retton, who also took home 2 silver medals and 2 bronze medals that year, was named Sportsperson of the Year by Sports Illustrated in 1984 for her accomplishments in those Summer Games. After her gymnastics career came to a close, Retton appeared on several movies and TV shows, including the 1993 episode of Baywatch and 1994 film Naked Gun 33 and a Half: The Final Insult. I love Naked Gun. I'll have to watch those movies. Good morning, Ann Sirkin. And thank you for your kind words. It's nice to know that other people have struggled with chronic conditions. So thank you very much for that. Uh, and was on the President's Council on Physical Fitness and Sports during George W. Bush's presidency. Retton was inducted into the International Gymnastics Hall of Fame in 1997 and became the first woman inducted into the Houston Sports Hall of Fame in 2020. She was inducted into the National Italian American Sports Hall of Fame in 1992. In her hometown of Fairmont, West Virginia, Retton has a street and a park named after her. Hey, Sal, how are you doing? So, you know, everyone, thoughts and prayers for Mary Lou Retton. If you feel feel desire to donate, information, I'm sure you can find on the internet. It's somewhere. What is this? What was the place that you were supposed to go to? Do. Spot Fund. Good morning, Kaiser Pineapple. So that's sad because she was actually my mother was a gymnast, and she was gifted with a child that can't, walk upstairs and chew gum. But she did try to teach me how to do a cartwheel and ended up with a black eye. In other news, go Christine. Look, I am pro Christine, and I am super petty, and I hope Cody loses all his hair. But Christine was one of my favorites, so I included this because super pettiness. Christine Brown and David Woolley were surrounded by loved ones when they said "I do" on October 7th, 2023. The Sister Wives star 51 married Wooly 59 in her home state of Utah with 5 of her and ex Cody Brown's 6 children in attendance. The former couple who split in November 2021 share sons Peyton, 25, daughters Aspen, 28, McKelty, 27, Gwendolyn, 21, Isabel, 20, and Truly, 13. Quote, loving life, got to marry my soulmate. It was a beautiful day, Christine wrote via Instagram, sharing more pictures of her nuptials. I'm just so overwhelmed with gratitude. Love you, my king. According to photos obtained by US Weekly on Tuesday, Gwendolyn and her wife, Beatrice Juarez, look, I probably butchered your name. I can't read or pronounce names. We're not in hand to toast the happy couple. However, pictures reveal that sister wife Janelle Brown, whoop, whoop, I'm on the Janelle and Christine train. Sorry, y'all. Who announced her separation from Cody Cody 54 in December 2022 was there. Hi, Nunya. Aw, dang it, Dennis. And good morning, Eris. If I've missed anyone, good morning to everyone. Janelle, 54, and Cody's 6 children, Logan, Maddie, Hunter, Garrison, Gabriel, and Savannah, united with their extended family over the weekend to honor second mom Christine in her new marriage, as did Mary Brown's only child, Leon. Quote, congratulations to David and Christine on their beautiful wedding, Savannah wrote via Instagram on Tuesday, teasing Isabel and I look too good not to take any pictures. Okay, so very, very awesome. I want Christine to have the best life ever. She was one of my favorites. She's sarcastic. And look, I'm gonna be honest, super petty. I don't like Cody. So that's why I threw it in there. Super pettiness. In a story that will give you hope for humanity, I found one because sometimes, especially on weeks like this, we need hope for humanity. Obviously, the video never ever matches. A man asked his neighbor to take down her morbid Halloween decorations after his father was diagnosed with cancer. Her empathetic response went viral. Last week, Halloween fanatic Selena Webb was asked to take down her decor by a tragedy-stricken neighbor. She called it a no-brainer as the casket and tombstones would be painful reminder of mortality. Viewers were heartened about the empathetic neighborly exchange going viral for once. As self-described Halloween lover, Selena Webb had already put out her decorations in September. I see you people. There's already Christmas decorations out, and I know someone is already listening to Christmas carols. I know someone somewhere. Good morning, Holly Moore and Toodly Pip. There was a makeshift graveyard with cardboard tombstones, a giant spider web draped over her front porch, and 2 human-sized skeletons toting a tiny casket. But the Duncan, South Carolina based mother of 4 who has another baby on the way and predominantly shares gardening and family content on TikTok has now gone viral for taking her Halloween decor down at the behest of a tragedy-stricken neighbor. And unlike so many residential disputes that go viral on the app, she's been inundated with positivity. On Wednesday, Webb told Insider that the adult son of her 2 elderly Russian neighbors knocked on a door. Webb had a friendly relationship with a couple who live across the street but don't speak English fluently. In the past, they've exchanged vegetables from her garden or toys for their grandchildren, she said. Quote, he started to tell me that his father was diagnosed with lung cancer, she said. The couple's son said, quote, and he started to talk about my Halloween decorations, and I'm like, what do my decorations have to do with this? But then it suddenly clicked. Quote, this guy is dealing with mortality, Webb said, noting he specifically asked her to take down the casket. The exchange was captured on her Ring security camera, which she then uploaded to TikTok. People. This is a lovely story, but not everything needs to go on TikTok. I mean, I'm getting content here, so it's kind of hypocritical. Maybe don't listen to me. Never mind. But possibly all of our lives don't need to be on YouTube or TikTok or tweeted. I'm just throwing it out there. We can just experience things. I think George Carlin had a great kind of just screed that he went on, like, you take videos of things that you're supposed to be you film things that you're supposed to be experiencing in the moment so that you can remember the thing that you're filming. He does it much better. Go watch George Carlin after this. Uh, the Which she uploaded to TikTok. Her post has received 1.2 million views in a week. Given that the dad frequently hangs out in his garage, which is squarely in the view of Webb's yard, she said it was, quote, a no-brainer to try to assuage the trauma of her neighbors have been experiencing. She removed the casket immediately. After sleeping on it, she decided to go a further step the next day and removed the tombstones too. Quote, I am a constant reminder of what possibly could happen if he doesn't kick cancer's ass, she told Insider. I don't want to cause that stress to someone else. That's not to say she isn't a little bummed. In compromise, she decided to give the skeletons badminton rackets and a lighthearted spin that still enables her to express her love for Halloween. The morbid items are in her backyard, but it's probably too expensive to redo her front yard this year, she said. Cool, I'm a little sad about it, but it's not about me this moment. She said, there's always next year for me. Webb said she shared the video to showcase a compassionate neighborly exchange on TikTok for once, where angry feuds proliferate. And while some viewers fumed that they wouldn't have made the accommodation, most were touched by her gesture. Quote, now, this is a neighborly thing to do. Kindness doesn't cost. Thank you, Mama, one viewer wrote. Another added, quote, his explanation was so heartfelt. It's so kind of you to respond the same way. Her kindness didn't end there. After the video went viral, Webb said she went over to drop off a card and balloons to assure her neighbors she wasn't bothered at all by the request. Despite the language barrier, she said the man was grateful, telling her, quote, you are good people. Yes, she sounds like a good neighbor, and that's why I put it in the story because we deal with a lot. There's, like, all the bad news in the world today, all of it. Next story, Vikings were awesome. They had windows. Vikings had windows, another shift away from their image of barbaric Norsemen, Danish museum says. Baker, this one's for you. Copenhagen, Denmark. Vikings had windows, usually only associated with medieval churches and castles, meaning Norsemen dignitaries sat in rooms lit up by apertures with glass. Danish researchers said Thursday the glass panes can be dated from long ago or long before churches and castles of the Middle Ages. Good morning, crime spies. With which er with which glazed windows are associated, they said. Quote, this is yet another shift away from the image of unsophisticated, barbaric Vikings swinging their swords around, said Mads Desango Jessen, a senior researcher with the National Museum in Copenhagen. Over the past 25 years, archaeologists have found glass fragments in 6 excavations in southern Sweden, Denmark, and northern Germany. In Copenhagen, 61 fragments of glass panes have been analyzed, and researchers concluded that the pieces of glass can be dated long before the churches and castles of the Middle Ages, and that Vikings had windows with glass panes between 800 and 1100. The Viking Age is considered to be from 793 to 166. Hi, Kim. Quote, we only associate early glass windows with the Middle Ages, therefore assuming that glass could not originate from the Viking Age, the National Museum said in a statement. The glass fragments, quote, can be dated to the Viking Age and most likely must have been in use at the time period as well, said Torben Sode, a conservator with the museum who first connected the dots. The museum said glass windows were for the upper echelons of society and religious use, as well as the case in the rest of Europe. Desango Jensen said there may have been glass windows in the Vikings' vast hall buildings. They were not large, transparent windows like we know them today, but probably smaller windows composed of flat glass or plain glass in different shades of green and brown. The idea was not to be able to look out, but to create colorful inflow of light into the building. The museum it said it was most likely that the Vikings acquired the glass through trade. Norsemen known as Vikings undertook large-scale raiding, colonizing, and conquest and trading through Europe. Yes, we did. Um, well, Bobby, they are Scientologists, but they were also in pane shape is what they're putting all the pieces together and they form window panes, unless they were using them for plates. I don't know. I'm just saying they had glass. Look, my t-shirt says, "I don't know you." That's my purse. I don't have the answers. Okay. In fact, we are talking about a cultivated Viking elite with royal power that for example, equaled that, for example, of Charlemagne, King of the Franks. This is something that is often omitted in the simplistic Hollywood portrayals of Vikings. So, you know, listen, Vikings may have had glass. I know I love this. I had to go to the mall with 6 children. We went into Hot Topic, and if you bought 1 t-shirt, you got one 30% off, so I bought this t-shirt. It's the best episode. Dozens of University of Florida students injured as stampede breaks out at Israel Vigil. Universities, kidult daycares, can we defund the universities? I mean, look, I'm kinda for it. I'm kinda for defunding the federal education thing, but that's just me, and I'm just a redhead on the internet, but quote, "It was an accident that was misinterpreted by the crowd that led to a panic." University of Florida Chief of Police Linda Stump Kernick said in a statement. A candlelight vigil for the victims of the Hamas attack in Israel at the University of Florida descended into a stampede, leaving dozens of people injured Monday night. According to a statement from the University of Florida Police Department, members of the Jewish community gathered in Turlington Plaza in support of Israel. Just before 9 p.m., one attendee fainted, which led those in the crowd to ask for 911 to be called. However, the University of Florida Police Department said that the call was misunderstood by the crowd, which dispersed in panic. The University Police Department said officers, quote, immediately secured the scene and escorted the crowd away from the area. Police Chief Linda Stupp Kernick said in a statement, quote, "We have no reason to believe that there was any malicious intent behind this incident. It was an accident that was misinterpreted by the crowd that led to panic." The department reported that at least 5 people were treated for minor injuries on the scene after the crowd rush by the Gainesville Fire Rescue Department and Gator Emergency Medical Response Unit, which were pre-staged for the event. However, the Gainesville Sun reported that there were more than 30 people treated for injuries at UF Health Shades Hospital, and that the hospital had described the incident as, quote, mass casualty event due to the large number of patients. Witnesses told the publication that the crowd dispersed, people fell tripping over each other, leading several people to sustain injuries. Students receiving treatment at the hospital for concussions, gashes that needed stitches, and one student was transported to the hospital via ambulance for a broken leg, according to the Gainesville Sun. It was a real stampede. Cheney Goldman, co-director of the Chabad Jewish Student Center, told the Gainesville Sun. Kids are very shaken up. People came to the event on edge to begin with because of a fear of going to any Jewish event that something could happen. There are over 9,000 Jewish undergrads and graduate students at the University of Florida, according to the university's Jewish organization website. Organizers behind the event told the outlet that the vigil would be held at a later date. So people are on edge, and any little thing is gonna set them off. So I feel terrible that this happened. I'm sure This woman probably just fainted, overcome by emotion, and people just people are on edge. I mean, the last 3 years, people have just been cray cray. And speaking of cray cray, former CIA director calls for US Senator Tommy Tuberville to, quote, "be removed from the human race." Um, Again, people, do not put your cray cray online or out loud. Remember, we have what is we're gonna need the whiteboard of truth. 1 second. I need to hustle my bustle and get, okay, so this is you. We're gonna put a little stick figure up here because I can't draw like this. And you have outside thoughts that are generally publicly acceptable. You can have all of these outside thoughts, but these inside thoughts should probably stay in here. Now, lately, people have decided to start opening their big old mouth and letting these inside thoughts out. That's a bad thing. Do not let your inside thoughts out unless you are prepared for the consequences, because some of these are bad. Some of these are bad. And listen, because I'm gonna guarantee this is what's gonna happen. These outside thoughts are gonna end up on the internet. So here's the internet, and then plus people getting mad. So people getting mad, and let's just draw a little dumpster, just a little happy little dumpster here. We're gonna give it a little happy little dumpster fire. We're gonna give it happy little fires. So when your bad little hot take gives you a happy little dumpster fire, then you're gonna equal, I'm under an attack and people are mean to me. No, sweetie. No, sweetie. You just had a bad That's when you go inside, voice stays inside. No, you put out your hot take like, what's that? I wanna call her Wiz Khalifa, but it's Mia Khalifa. You put your inside voice on outside voice and you blast it out. I mean, look, you are not being attacked. You is just getting consequences. I love how one side's like, "It's not cancel culture, it's consequences." And then when it happens to them, it's cancel cult. I am being attacked." I'm like, "Ma'am, you done said put it in horizontal so I can see atrocities better. Imma need you to pipe down just a little bit." On Monday, former CIA Director Michael Hayden appeared to call for the assassination of Senator Tommy Tuberville, a Republican from Arizona, for blocking military confirmations. Well, as with me and everyone else, we all have to learn the hard way. How many times has someone told you something and you're like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, I'll just learn the hard way." Hayden was one of the 51 intelligence experts who falsely claimed that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation. The retired U.S. official made the statement in response to a user on X who asked if Tuberville should be removed from the committee. And Hayden answered, "How about the human race?" Oh, okay, sweet baby Jesus. We need a tweet think it over timer. Like, what we need a we need a Twitter think it over. So, when it thinks you might I mean, I hate AI, but when it thinks you might be about ready to put a dumbass hot take on there, it says, "Would you like to wait an hour?" You get to set it up yourself. You get to set up your own little time out period. So, if you're, really impulsive, you can say, like, 10 minutes. If you're like me and you like to stew, you can put it like, "Look, I have a contract with myself. Tipsy me is not allowed to do anything until sober me gets you know, a say on stuff. Sal will tell you because he'll ask me something and I said, "This sounds hilarious, but due to personal contract," and trying to write that while tipsy, I'm like, "Daggone contract." You know, sober me has to be involved in this conversation, so I'll get back to you on, the morning. But, it would just say like, "Hey, this looks kinda stupid. Would you like to wait just about 5 minutes before you do it?" As a member of the Senate Armed Services Committee for months, Tublerville has blocked bulk confirmations for hundreds of military officers in order to protest a Pentagon policy that pays for troops out of state travel for medical services, including abortion. As a result, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is forced to send some promotion to full Senate vote or floor for votes. Hayden, who's also the director of the National Security Agency, oversaw the agency's mass surveillance program on U.S. citizens, tweeted on May 2022, "Tommy Tuberville is an idiot." Well, there you go. I have aphasia sometime. Sir, no. So, possibly if you have a hot take, wait just about 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. In other cray cray news, they perfected the scheme. Caddo Co. DA files charges against teen who posed as a PA, his wife and father. Apache, Oklahoma, the teen who posed as a physician's assistant in Corpus Christi. Dude was 16. How, y'all? I'm gonna need if you saw this face come in with a lab coat on. I'm gonna have some questions. I'm gonna say, Doogie Howser, I'm going to need to see your medical transcripts. Anyone who goes to this kid and says, "You know what? I trust you with my medical history." I mean, no, not at all. I'm asking for your references. Has been charged with several more crimes along with his 16-year-old wife and 74-year-old father, according to the Apache police. News 4 has been following the tale of 19-year-old Zachary. Okay, look, I know I'm bad at spelling, but come on now. Bailey since summer. Bailey pleaded guilty in 2022 to acting as a physician's assistant without a license in Corpus Christi. He was given a 6-year deferred adjudication. Bailey's probation was later transferred to Oklahoma, where he has lived for the last several months. In his time in Oklahoma, Bailey has made his way through the court system. He has cases in Oklahoma County, Tulsa County, and Comanche County. As of last week, Bailey was facing half a dozen obtaining property by deception charges. He currently sits in Oklahoma County Detention Center on a $200,000 bond. There, quote, "There's some stuff I've done, yes. I mean, you know about that. You know, the stuff I'm being held on is actually accidental stuff or civil stuff," he told KFOR at the end of September. News 4 has spoken with Bailey several times over the phone since August. Since the first phone call, Bailey has maintained his innocence. However, he admitted to KFOR he committed some stuff. Bailey was arrested at his father's Apache home in August. Quote, "Over the course of the investigation, pretty much one day led us to another," said Leo. A Caddo County probable cause affidavit reveals that Apache police have interviewed 3 potential victims. One appears to be from Ohio, another from Texas, and one from Oklahoma. Yeah, it's like, well, look, I just put on a lab coat. These people assumed I was a doctor. I never said I was a doctor. It's really their fault. I mean, I could have been it. Sir, it was not Halloween. In each case, court documents showed Bailey paid for a car with money that was later returned as fraudulent. Leo said he was working to find concrete evidence, but he has been informed of Bailey using forged letters from banks to show proof he had money. Quote, I think based on the letter being presented to these various financial companies, that's what made them either pay off the vehicle or show it as paid, said Liu. Then the funds were going to be then when the funds were going to be collected, it looked like there were no funds there. So therefore, they recall the transactions and the owners subsequently report the vehicles as stolen. As Bailey first sat in the Oklahoma County Detention Center, an affidavit claims that his 16-year-old wife and father dropped off a vehicle at Will Rogers Airport in Oklahoma City in an attempt to sell it for a part of Bailey's bond money. Quote, on August 15th, 2023, Bailey's teenage wife drove the 2023 Toyota Camry HV to Oklahoma City's Will Roger Airport to dispose of the vehicle by selling the vehicle. Subject 3, Philip Gerald Bailey, followed Bailey's wife in his vehicle to provide her a ride home after selling the vehicle to the new owner, court records read. Philip Bailey was fully aware of what was transpiring regarding the sale of the vehicle he that was confident was he was confident was fraudulently obtained by both the 17-year-old idiot allegedly and his teenage wife. Despite these beliefs, Philip Bailey is still fully and willingly assisting in the illegal sale of the vehicle that was actually stolen. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, what is going on here? Are we trying to be Bonnie and Clyde and Doogie Howser? Disney, if you don't make a series about this, I mean, y'all have no new ideas. I'm just saying, you could make a series. Court documents also reveal Bailey's wife had contact with multiple alleged victims. Quote, I don't believe for a moment that her or his father are innocent in any part of this. They are part of the conspiracy to commit the crimes that were committed, said Liu. The probable cause affidavit also accuses Bailey and his wife of taking part in a chop shop ring. Quote, based on the voluminous evidence obtained through this investigation, the affiant believes that there is sufficient probable cause to criminally charge Zachary Brent Bailey, aka Zachary Brent, the teenage wife, and Philip Gerald Bailey with various intentional violations of Oklahoma criminal statutes in which all three persons created, conspired, engaged in overt acts to scheme, defraud persons of money and vehicles. Holy Lord. What is wrong with these people? Uh, because Bailey's wife is a minor, News 4 is unable to access any court documents regarding her charges. Apache Police Department said it has evidence indicating Bailey's teen wife initiated some unlawful actions and followed Bailey's orders through. The Apache Police Department confirmed with KFOR charges have been filed against her. News 4 asked if Bailey's teen wife could be tried as an adult in the case, and they said, quote, I'm not sure because there's like 13 crimes, and in the state of Oklahoma, that that allows a juvenile to be charged as an adult. I don't think white collar crimes is going to be one of them, stated Lihu. If she is found guilty, Lihu said she could spend some time in juvenile detention. Bailey has been charged with knowingly received stolen property, conspiracy to commit a felony, computer fraud, unlawful use of a computer system, obtaining property by false pretense. Most of the stuff I'm in here isn't even the stuff I've done, Bailey said. Shut up. His lawyer is like, shut up. He's 17. He pretended to be a physician's assistant, but it looks like he's also stealing cars. So I guess he got tired of stealing cars and decided he was going to be a doctor. But why go to medical school? Just put on a lab coat. Just put on a lab coat. It'll be fine. Yeah, he is self-snitching, like, his lawyer is like, "So did you talk to anyone?" And he's like, "Only all the news." "So how's my case looking?" His lawyer his lawyer's like, "When I see you back here again, and I know I will, Just keep your mouth shut. In another feel-good story, because we need all the feel-good stories, I cannot tell you how long I searched for feel-good stories this morning because everything was just dead awful, quite literally and figuratively. Quote, "Proud dad doesn't let cancer stop him from escorting his daughter as she's crowned homecoming queen." Quote, "He struggled last week to even pick up his left leg, which is why escorting her across the field was a major ordeal," Brett Yancey's wife tells People. An Alabama family will never forget a special moment that occurred at a homecoming event. Last month, Brett Yancey, who has esophageal cancer, made the 50-yard walk down Southside High School's football field with his daughter, 17, who was crowned this year's homecoming queen. "Honestly, I could feel my heart beating out of my chest," Carrie Yancey, Brett's wife, tells People of watching the scene unfold from the bleachers. Quote, "He was holding my daughter pretty tight. I could just kept praying, 'You can make it. You can make it.'" I know. I know. "Tears just rolled down my face," she added. Carrie, 48, explains that recently Brett, who has been dealing with cancer for 7 years, hasn't had enough energy to walk from the bedroom to the bathroom. She worried he'd be too worn out to make the walk at homecoming ceremony. Quote, "He struggled last week to even lift his leg, which is why escorting her across the field was a major ordeal," she added. Carrie suggested Brett use a golf cart to take him to meet his daughter on the football field, but according to NBC affiliate WVTM TV, he told his wife, "I don't need a golf cart. I'm going to walk my baby to the opposite sideline." Now I'm gonna cry, damn it. Look, someone has been touching onions. You know what? You wanna see real masculinity? This. This is true, honest to God masculinity. I know everyone talks about toxic masculinity, which I think is we can talk about that, and toxic femininity. This is, honest to God, some of the bravest stuff I've ever seen. This man is this is what real masculinity, this is what real heroism looks like. It's not, Superman. So I have a favorite quote from a movie that I'm sure no one has ever seen, but it's my favorite movie. It got me through high school. It's called Angus. I came out maybe early 2000, early aughts or late 90s. It's about kind of chunky kid in high school. And the best quote is uh, Superman isn't brave. And the grandpa says this, and the kind of chunky, awkward Angus says, "What are you talking about, grandpa?" Because the grandpa always kind of spouts out weird stuff. And he says, "Superman isn't brave. He's good looking, he's kind, he's generous, but he isn't brave." And the kid kind of looks at him and he said, "Superman's invincible. You can't be brave when you're invincible because you know nothing's going to hurt you. But it's the normal people who go out every day knowing that they can get crushed, that they can, you know, deal with the slings and arrows of everything, but they still do it every day. That's bravery." So, it's my favorite movie. I'll probably watch it again and cry because that's what I do because I'm a girl. Uh, and then they have a Peter Gabriel song in it, which, you know, darn him, makes me cry every time. Overcoming the odds, the proud father was arm in arm with his beaming daughter, Sarah Kate, who wore her crown and carried flowers as they walked together across the field. Quote, "Thank the Lord he did it," Carrie tells People. Yes. It's a great movie and has a great soundtrack if anyone's wondering. Oh, believe me, I know. My feelings, I usually pretend I don't have them, but then, like, once or twice a blue moon, Facebook will get me with those stupid puppy things, and I'm like, "Damn you, Facebook." Brett, a former high school football coach, and Carrie, an elementary school principal, have been married for 25 years. Carrie tells people that due to traveling they had to do for Brett's treatment, they haven't always been around as much as they'd like for their three daughters. Quote, our community, friends, and family have prayed so hard for our family, she said. We've missed a lot of our girls' high school sports and activities, but they have kept the faith. She also tells people it was an honor to see her daughter be recognized by her school as this year's homecoming queen. Quote, Brett was so proud of all of our that of what all our children stand for and the young ladies they have become, she says. Carrie adds that the family's prayer is that Brett's will leave a legacy of hope, courage, strength, and faith. So, and then for BTK news. Let's see. Oklahoma sheriff takes fight with district attorney to court over, quote, uninformed and ignorant comments about his investigation into notorious BTK serial killer lawsuit. A sheriff in Oklahoma accuses a district attorney in a lawsuit of making, quote, uninformed and ignorant comments about the lack of information to press charges against a serial killer in the disappearance of a 16-year-old girl nearly 50 years ago. Osage County Sheriff Eddie Viridin alleges Mike Fisher, the district attorney for Osage and Pawnee, made comments at a news conference last month about an investigation the sheriff has been conducting since 2007 into mass murderer. Wouldn't it be serial killer, not mass murderer? Annie Hoozle. Oh, well, congratulations on him surviving. And I, that walk must have been awful. And I'm so glad that he got through it. So, gotcha, sis. Dennis Rader, the BTK killer, a name he gave himself, which stands for bind, torture, kill. Verdin accuses Fisher of surreptitiously contacting elderly families of murder victims, telling them the sheriff was only conducting his investigation for publicity and political purposes, and suggesting they not cooperate with him, the lawsuit said. Quote, defendant Fisher's actions have also been cruel to the surviving family or families by dashing their hopes of bringing their family member's killer to justice, the lawsuit says. His actions, the lawsuit added, have caused the, quote, BTK investigation to be delayed, hampered, and irreparably compromised, allowing Mr. Rader to escape justice and open the door for Mr. Rader to initiate his own publicity campaign against the very person trying to bring him justice, Sheriff Verdin. Fisher told the Waukesha Journal-Capital that Verdin is pursuing a vendetta. Quote, it's just sad, Fisher said. It's unfortunate that he continues to pursue whatever vendetta he has against me. I've tried to take the high road with him, but he doesn't seem interested in that. Look, you guys, I'm always on the side of not the prosecutor, so I'm going to go not the prosecutor this time. I'm going with the sheriff. But let's continue. The lawsuit filed on Friday alleges Fisher's statements, quote, intentionally disparaged the motivation, integrity, and reputation of Sheriff Verdin and the Osage County Sheriff's Office at a time when public support for law enforcement is waning nationwide. It alleges he acted with malice and reckless disregard for the truth and with a desire to disparage and tarnish Verdin's name and image and influence the sheriff's election in 2024. It also alleges malicious interference with the Osage Sheriff's Office operations and oppression in the office for political gain of the defendant and his political allies. Yipes. The accusations stem from the investigation into Rader in the 1976 disappearance of 16-year-old cheerleader Cynthia Dawn Kinney. She vanished from a laundromat in Waukesha. Look, I am probably butchering this, but that's what I'm reading. On June 23rd, 1976, Kinney's remains have not been found, but Verdin's office announced a major development linking Rader to the case in August. Verdin said his investigators searched Rader's former Park City home and recovered items of interest such as personal effects and ongoing investigations in Oklahoma and Missouri. Quote, at this stage, Dennis Rader is considered a prime suspect in these unsolved cases, including the Cynthia Dawn Kinney case from Waukesha, the sheriff's office said. The sheriff's office revealed that an entry in Rader's journal from 1976, written the year Kinney disappeared, made a reference to PJ Bad Wash Day, PJ standing for project and brunette he was stalking. Quote, the brunette was the target. I would watch nearby laundromat for possible victim C9, chapter 9 of his unpublished book on the murders. The entry said, laundromats were a good place to watch victims and dreams. Sometimes I have a pair of women's underwear on, and after watching a girl or lady he didn't, relieve myself in the bathroom with self-love thoughts. Ugh. Well, this is how Dennis Rader has a very loose grip on both grammar and spelling. So anything you read from him has interesting grammar and spelling. An interview with the New York Times, Verdon said it dawned on him while watching a true crime series that Rader's Kansas murders weren't far from Osage County. That series, which Law and Crime confirmed is Catching Killers, and its second season, episode 1 on BTK, sparked the sheriff to visit Rader in state prison. During that visit, the Times story said, Rader claimed he had never fulfilled the fantasy of a laundromat kidnapping. Aware that Kinney was kidnapped from a laundromat, investigators pored over the serial killer's journals, which were intact and recovered by Wichita PD at the time of his 2005 capture. After a search of his place of work and residence, Under Sheriff Gary Upton told Law and Crime, those journals were made available to us, Upton said. Upton commented on the irony of a meticulous serial killer potentially being tripped up again, as in his floppy disk downfall, by simply revealing too much. The undersheriff surmised that Rader would have destroyed the journal evidence, quote, if he had known he was going to be arrested. We connected the dots by way of his timeline in the journal, examining Rader's movements in the tri-state area that looked like where he had touched and where he had been, Upton said. The undersheriff called it speculative with 80% certainty that Rader was in Osage County for work on the day Kinney disappeared. He noted that a bank was under construction across the street from the laundromat at the time when ADT dominated the alarm system market across the nation. Upton noted that Kinney's disappearance occurred 2 years after BTK was known to have committed 5 murders in Wichita, suggested that Osage County work tip would have been a way for him to kill again and lie low while outside of Kansas. Rader is serving 10 consecutive life sentences in Kansas Department of Corrections for 10 murders to which he confessed. The sheriff said he interviewed Rader and has potentially developed leads that will solve other murders in Oklahoma, Kansas, and Missouri, the court document said. The DA said he asked the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation to examine the Kinney case. So, look, hopefully Dennis Rader will get, if he's such a biblical man that he claimed he was, and he's realizing that he's going to go to a fiery pit of you know what, he's gonna release a lot of the information on more people that he took care of. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe he stopped at 10. I don't believe he ever stopped. I believe there's going to be a lot more cold cases that he's connected to. Good morning, Baker. No, I have to do another, mom taxi thing. So I will be back in the afternoon and probably do more of the case or more of the trial. Baker, if you wanna do it, like I said, I don't own any cases. If anyone wants to do that, take all the cases you want. No one owns a case. But I do have to skedoodle. I am driving the birthday girl to be with her bonus mom and have bonus mom time and bonus sister time. It's so awesome when look, after drama and all that stuff that you get to, uh, you get to have this bonus family for your kid that gets to celebrate them too, so that's awesome. So, I will leave you today. Like I said, today's schedule is gonna be a bit wonky. I might do a couple of short videos. There is stuff coming out in the Delphi case. I'm trying to set up an interview with an appellate attorney that's local. I just have to make sure that it doesn't conflict with anything that she's doing, that she can come on with me because I'm a mouthy redhead and I don't wanna get her in trouble. But, yeah, today is gonna be a little bit wonky in and of itself because we have birthday girl, bonus mom, and family time, so awesome sauceness, but I will be back and making videos and working on the Delphi timeline and everything else because I am trying to make original stuff, but I am not good at this digital, uh, making charts thing. It is going slower than me trying to run in molasses, but I am working on it. Have a wonderful day. If this is the only time I see you, have a great day and a wonderful Wednesday. I will be back for nightly newsy news that is still going on, and I will see you all in a little bit. Bye, guys. Have a great day.